What's up, y'all? TheNaturegirl30 here, and yeah, I know my degree is cricket, but this video is actually kind of a vlog. I don't do a lot of vlogs. I don't really talk about a lot of personal stuff about me full on, maybe tidbits here and there. But what inspired me to actually do a video like this is because of Ervin Griffin. Now, I've made mentions in some of my videos that Ervin and I are dating, but he has made full-fledged videos about our relationship, how we met. He has put so much effort into talking so much about it. And I'm not gonna lie, I feel bad for not being able to do that. And we did talk. He said he didn't want to feel like I'm forced to do a video because he's done plenty of about our relationship. But I'm inspired to do it because he's a good man. He talked about how we met. He talked about, us taking our time and leading up to that point. But I'm going to go a little further than that. And if you hear noise in the background, that's my dad. He's actually watching the game. But anyway, the thing is that I don't really talk a lot about relationships because relationships are finite. There's not anything that's going to be set in stone. They always end up failing, ending, or just disappearing somehow out of existence. And if you make a recording or a video about a particular person, you're going to either have to get rid of all the videos you made about that person and pretty much change your whole format if that person was a huge part of your channel. Ervin's not entirely a big part of my channel, not like some of these couple YouTubers that have like either couples talks or play games together and stuff like that. He's not a huge part of my channel, but I've always had that fear that you would always be in a relationship with someone that you really do care about or love, and then somehow it ends and then you gotta go back and reset everything. But this is something that's different. Now, when it comes to Ervin and I, we actually did meet in 2012. Well, not in person. The thing is, Ervin did a lot of response videos, and I think I responded to one of his videos, and then we just started talking. And then somehow, I think we ended up talking on Facebook to where I just explained, okay, we're in the same country, so why not we just actually exchange phone numbers and talk? And in his video, he said we talked about close from between 9 to 10 hours. He's close. We talked about 9 hours, I remember, because Ervin's a really big Marvel nut. He knows a lot about everything Marvel, and he's a huge fan of Marvel in general. So we talked a lot about Marvel pretty much all day until like the evening. And I think he mentioned in his video he just put up that we watched that he was watching the Wolverine. And he was really into X-Men, and he was watching the Wolverine while we were talking. I honestly forgot that he was. But we just kept, talking and making conversations back and forth. And then there was a time, and I do believe that it had to be either 2017 or late 2016, that I actually did meet him for the first time. And I just drove up from Gatlinburg after, going to my family in Gatlinburg for Thanksgiving. I ended up leaving there and actually drove all the way to Bluefield, West Virginia, where he was, and just met up with him. It was brief because it was winter and it was snowing, and I didn't want to get trapped up there. So we did spend a few hours, and I think we were watching a movie together. Unfortunately, I can't remember what movie it was. I think it was some kind of a rom-com, but I can't remember the title. He would know. But it was only for a few hours, and then all of a sudden I was like, I have to go. Because, didn't want to be trapped in the snow. But was there attraction the first time we met? There was, but my headspace was all over the place. I was kind of confused by one guy I was so-called seeing. It was a long distance thing. He was in another country, and my mind was in other places. So I really wasn't all there. And even though the attraction was there, we didn't really, hold hands or do anything like that. I don't want to be that too detailed, but it was very casual. We talked, and then he walked me to my car, and then he just saw me off. He was a gentleman, and we just kept chatting like for years. We saw other people, but we remained really strong friends. And even though I've been in other so-called relationships throughout my years, and it didn't last long, especially one that lasted too long, that didn't really go well and wasn't really a good relationship to be in. And it ended amicably. But the thing is, I went back and thought about this man. I've been friends with for nearly 10 years. And it came around 2022, and it just made me think, I've known this guy for 10 years and he's had my back for this long. He was with me in my darkest moments. And I don't really talk a lot about this myself, but I had to have surgery. And it was very extensive surgery, and it was something that really did bother me, that bothered most women. And I was in my late 30s, and the fact that I had to have fibroid surgery and how extensive it was going to be, and I was extremely ill a lot before my surgery, but having it, the one thing I wanted was children. And it was something that was really difficult to talk about with anyone else. And even though I did, it just didn't feel comforting. And I ended up telling him because I trusted him about it. But he ended up leading me to a source, to his mom. And she was a wonderful help. She was a true comfort in, for me before this surgery even happened. And the fact that he thought that much about me instead of just shying away from it, because I know talking pretty much about, not so much about female anatomy, but pretty much about, other female issues in general can make some men uncomfortable, but it didn't with him. And the fact that he actually, had his mom contact me and we were talking, and it just really was a big comfort for me, made me think even further about all the times he was there for me. And that was one of the biggest moments. And another big moment was when I lost my mom to COVID. And it's been like a year. And he's been a huge support even then. He's had my back for 10 years. I'm able to feel comfortable to talk to him about anything. And he didn't shy away from it. He didn't run off. He listened. He was very respectful. And he was there, for 10 years of me knowing him. So I'm thinking, how come I can't date this guy? How come I'm dating everybody else and trying to have that loyalty with everybody else, but I already have that loyalty in front of me? And not only that, I was attracted to him. I am attracted to him currently, but I never really thought about that, which is something I think a lot of women really should. There's always that one friend that you have that's had your back from day one that you really either never thought about going further with or did think about it, but something kind of pushed you back. The one thing that kind of held me back from dating him long term for the first time or at all was, number one, the distance. And we are in different states, and the fact that we were able to stay in touch this long, I'm happy that we're able to still have a relationship even though we're in different states currently. My goal is to be closer to him, but at this point we're in different states and it's working out, at least on my end. And he'll let me know, of course, we're that open with some things if it is difficult with him, but I kind of see that things are working at this point. But the fact that we're in different states was an issue at first, and I thought that the distance would be something that would just not work out. Secondly, I wasn't very confident in my body. With these fibroids that I had, I gained so much weight, especially up top. My hormones was like kind of wonky to the point where my chest kind of got a little bigger than it usually would. I kind of grew 2 cup sizes, something I'm not entirely used to. So I was incredibly self-conscious about my chest size, especially hugging people, and hugging men made me incredibly uncomfortable and them uncomfortable. So I was very self-conscious about my body. And thirdly, if that is a word, I felt like my personality would just be too much for him. Because he's a very low-key type of guy, and me being ADHD, I can be incredibly hyper at times where it's hard to shut off. So I thought I would be a little bit too much. But then going back and thinking about it all, I'm like, okay, it seems like that we kind of straightened everything out. Like, my personality isn't too much for him because he's open enough to tell me when things are getting out of control. When it comes to, and there was also another issue that is personal, but out of respect for him, I'm not going to go too much into it. But I will say that when it came to all those other issues, I feel like it was actually pretty straightened out. And it wasn't anything that would really cause a problem. And I had to go back and think about that. So when I did think about it, after I finally just kind of put a kibosh on, the previous situation that I was in, and I thought about all that, I actually had the nerve to ask him out. Yep, I asked him out. He didn't ask me out. I asked him out. And it's not because I'm saying it's out of clout. It's just because I wanted to shoot my shot. Like most men that are really into some women, they shoot their shot, whether their shot is missed or whether it goes right in. You know, you really care about this person and you don't want somebody else to pick them up because they're way too good to let go. I asked him out, and I'm kind of happy that I did, because the date that we had was around WrestleMania weekend, and you probably saw the video that we had about watching the first hour, well, the first night of WrestleMania. We actually did do a video together, and we were exhausted, no doubt, because we were all over the place. But the thing is that was probably the best date I ever been on. He was nice enough to actually get me tickets to go to a concert that was pretty much like a cover band of like 1950s bands. It was like a versus type of thing, and it was practically the most amazing show I've ever been to. He took me around his neck of the woods. We also went around some parts of Salisbury because that was where I was staying in North Carolina. We had a very good time. And it was probably one of the best dates I've ever had in years, because around that time, I haven't dated anyone in 15 years. It was to the point where you just kind of give up and just want to take a break and just kind of figure yourself out. And yeah, it was a 15-year break, but I'm kind of happy that I did, because I actually figured out what I wanted in a man and what I was starting to think about when it comes to a guy for a long term, because I'm 42 right now, and I had to take a break in my mid-30s to figure out exactly what I wanted in a guy, and what I wanted to, well, it was probably a lot later than that. But the thing is that I didn't really have a stable relationship in 15 years. And I think I was 26 when that was like the last one. I had long distance ones, but to be honest with you, ones that were face to face when I was around somebody a lot, it was about 15 years. So I took the time to actually figure out what I wanted to see in a guy and what I was pursuing and what I wanted out of them. Because a lot of guys thought I was lying when I told them straight up that if you want to go somewhere else, let me know. I want you to be honest with me. I want you to be 100% honest with me. I am not BSing at all. This is just how I am. I'm a straight shooter. So I just want you to be completely honest with me with what you want. If you don't want to be with me, I'll let you go. I'm not going to hold on to you. I'm going to let you go, and I'm going to let you pursue someone that you want to pursue. Guys thought I was lying, which was odd, because I'm not lying. Like, I really do want you to be honest with me. But I guess in these days, maybe it's kind of women kind of talking out the other sides of their mouths when they say that they want the truth, but they really don't. And maybe that's just kind of what it was. But that's just kind of what I wanted in a guy. And he was honest with me from the jump. Ervin is 100% genuine, chivalrous, amazing man that I'm very blessed to have in my life. And around the time that I met him, I felt that he was such a good man, but I wasn't in the right headspace. And I think that if we did get together around that time, it probably wouldn't have worked. But I'm happy that we did take the time to get to know each other. We still pursued other people, but we still stayed friends. And even though on my end, the attraction was there was a lot of things I need to know about myself in order for me to be a good woman for him. Because he deserves a good woman. He's always deserved a good woman. And I'm happy that I'm able to be that good woman for him. At least I want to be. And I want to continue to give him 100% of me, because he deserves that. But if I ever got with him that early, it wouldn't have worked. But I'm glad that it is working out now. And I hope it does go further long term, because he's too good to let go. He really is. And even if when this video comes out within maybe months or a year or what have you, and we're not together, I don't regret saying any of this, because he is a good man. Even if he won't be with me however long, if it's like a year from now, a month from now, or a day from now, I don't regret saying anything in this video, because Ervin Griffin is a good man. He really is. And he deserves 100% from any woman that has him. But now I have him, he's mine, so he's getting 100% of me at this moment. But that's kind of how I'm going to wrap up things about me and Ervin. He has been absolutely amazing. He's done so many videos that just touched my heart because I never really expect him. He always sends them to me after he's done them, and I just am floored every time because he is such a sweet man and very genuine. So I'm blessed to have somebody like him in my life, and that's kind of how I feel about him at this point. So I want to give 100% of my video about him because he has done that for me tenfold. So he deserves more. But anyway, guys, if you've ever met a man in your life, and this is for women. I take that back. Women and men and women, or whoever. If you met somebody in your life that has always been there, that has always been loyal, that has always been that genuine force of positivity and good in your life, that you never considered pursuing romantically, or if you have considered it, never had the heart to never had the strength to actually muster it up and ask that person out. If you've ever been in that situation to where you know somebody that you really wanted to pursue romantically but was too scared to ask out, leave in the comments. I really do want to hear y'all's stories, especially if you have currently gone through that or if you have gone through that. And I want to hear the outcome of all of it. I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Well, guys, that is it for me. This vlog has gone on for too long, but that is my view of Ervin, and I'm definitely happy that we took our time. But let me know in the comments about any situation that you currently have gone through or have gone through. I'm really curious to hear what you guys have to say. But anyway, y'all, that's it for me. Peace out.